Hey everyone, it's Kenlyn and welcome back to my channel. This is kind of a 911 video that I wanted to do because so many people are just in it today. And I think this is going to last throughout the eclipse season. So I thought, let's get in the conversation together. How do we work through such intense upheaval change? There's even like depression, despondency, spinning out, feeling a lack of ground underneath us, overwhelm. And that leads to a lot of projections and finger pointing. There's relationship breakdown in the field. This eclipse has all of that written on it. So this is where we find ourselves. And if you identify with that, keep listening because we're going to work our way through. And how we're going to work our way through is the first thing, to remember the context. Anytime that we are too much in the trench, we have forgotten the forest for the trees. And the context gets to be empowering. If you have an empowering context, then it fuels you. You can tell in your body. It just feels right. You feel lighter. You feel more focused. And so for me, and oftentimes in the spiritual community, the context is that we agreed to be here, that we agreed to be here now, that this is a change of an age, and that we are midwifing an old world to a new world. And none of that was ever supposed to be easy. I read a lot of Gaia Codex, and we study that inside of the ESN membership. And Sarah Drew, the author, talks about the role of the priestess is to midwife when one civilization dies and another one is being reborn. So when we come in with that context, we're coming in like with the context of the Bodhisattva. You know, we're really not here for that white picket fence dream. That may happen, and that's wonderful if it does, but we're not here to seek it. And a spiritual principle is to seek first the kingdom, and then those things are added as they will. So we're going to find that through this upheaval, reorienting your third eye drishti to this broader context, that this is what you said yes to, but also reorienting your heart. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Let's finish out the context conversation, because in these changes of an age, we are saying goodbye to the structures that, even if we didn't like them, gave us comfort because it was certain. And it could be structures of the way the medical system worked, or how we got paid, or structures about our job security. People want jobs where they feel self-expressed. They want to feel like they're in their dharma. They want to feel like it's the thing that they're meant to be doing. So we are choosing as humanity to let go of some of the structure and certainty for the promise of self-actualization. And that's very roller coaster, uncertain, chaotic, lots of upheaval. And that brings me to the second context, and that is this eclipse. The full moon eclipse initiates us into the wormhole September 17th, 7:34 p.m. Pacific, and the 18th of September for those of you ahead of in the time zone. So that's initiating us into a 2-week wormhole that is a release mechanism. Now, I've said before, if you've listened to my videos, that the new moon was the initiator. So we're already in that energy, which is why people are feeling it, and why I've had conversations all day with people at some level of breakdown. And the breakdown is usually with someone, because we're now in this very highly charged relationship environment. And I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But this eclipse wormhole has the signature of letting go, of release, of completion. So we're not able to actually envision the future, how we want to go, where we want to go, because we're attending to the releasing of things, maybe old visions, maybe ideas that I really wanted to happen, maybe ways of making money, maybe energetic contracts with other people. There's just a myriad of ways that we could be feeling the intensity of closure. And some things are coming out of left field that you didn't see that coming. You didn't see that relationship ending. That kind of thing is happening. And so I'm going to invite you into a couple practices that just may smooth some of that out so that you don't go on an intense roller coaster ride. It's already intense enough, right? So just things like that are being unearthed. People are already reactive. So they're putting that into the space, maybe blowing some shit up in relationships. And our job is to do something different. So just presencing that the eclipse time is not a time for forward movement. It's a time to clean up. It's a time to spiritually purify. And this is why I started PURIFY, which is a spiritual detox. I did it because I need it. And I've been doing the practice and want to share it with others. And I'll put the link in the description below if you would like to join me. We're going to start on the equinox. And we're going to do a 21-day practice. And this practice is beautiful because here's the signature of this time. No more filling up. It's release. It's emptying. If you binge on news, it's time to stop. If you binge on Instagram, it's time to stop. If you binge on Facebook scrolling or anything, it's just time to stop. If you've been following the election in the US, it's time to stop. Like I think you know everything you need to know. And every day might be some new drama, but really doesn't matter. It doesn't. So we need to stop. We need to stop filling ourselves up and instead emptying ourselves out. That's a huge theme of this eclipse season. And if we do, the promise is that you'll come back to center. And when you're at center, you actually hear your soul speak. You hear what it is that you're here to do. And it's not a one-shot deal. You're not going to get that like, one time meditating or tonight. I mean, there's massive dreaming that's happened. So much is being reworked behind the scenes. So we get to trust all of that. So let me go into a couple spiritually hygienic things that we can use as tools to build up our own muscle and increase our spiritual maturity through this chaotic time. And then you really can be of service to other people because not everyone's doing these practices. I think the first thing in spiritual hygiene, particularly with relationships, is to remember I statements. Whenever we make you statements, we are projecting. We're thinking that we know what it's like to be someone else. Even if it looks empirically like that's what they're doing, we have no clue actually. And I really love Byron Katie's work, The Work. She wrote about it in Loving What Is. And then there's the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. So get a hold of that. I think it's probably thework.com. If you are finding yourself in the middle of creating a lot of projection of just stuff you know nothing about because you haven't been in the conversation asking people, like, I'm curious, I'm making up a story that, and I want to check it out. I statements. Brene Brown is also really good training and her myriad of books about I statements. And I love that phrase. I'm making up this story that, and I want to check it out with you. You'd be surprised at how many things would get cleared up if you would just check out your data. So oftentimes we make up stories about other people because we have something inside our heart that needs to be tended to. That's where I think parts work comes in handy. And once a month, we do parts work inside the ESN membership with a trained trauma expert. I love parts work. And so when that part is feeling left out or ignored or abandoned or rejected, it's time for you to be with that part, not for you to try to solve it on the level of the outside. Solve it here, and then whatever needs repair, you can repair. The other question would be, what meaning am I making out of this? We are meaning-making machines, and oftentimes the meaning we make out of it is our negative self-story. I'm not wanted. I'm not loved. I'm not good enough. I didn't do it right. Those are the core wounds. And so we tend to interpret things around us according to that core wound, and we defend it. That's the thing that's so insidious. We defend it. So maybe ask yourself, take a step back. What story am I making up? What meaning am I making up about this? I think the other thing is personalizing. When we start to personalize and we see that that person wanted to attack me, they don't appreciate me, they don't love me. No, actually consider that everyone loves you. Everyone loves you. That's the big secret. Can you receive that? Maybe love looks like no right now. So instead of personalizing it, open up your aperture to see that there's love everywhere. That's going to support you in being the priestess that you're here to be. So many spiritual women, I say, what is your role? What's your stand? Why are you here? And they'll say, I'm here to share unconditional love, to be love. Okay, great. Well, this is where it matters, right? Right here. This is where it matters. So you get to tend to yourself so that you can actually do your dharma. But don't expect a resolution yet. We have to go through the paces, and we're in breakdown, and nobody's getting out of that one alive. So let's let the old parts of us die off. So let's talk about a couple things around spiritual purification. And I'm bringing this up because I think this is the signature, as I mentioned, of this eclipse. It's not claim your power. It's not be your biggest self. It's not step into all your gifts and your medicine. No, it's purify. Because just like when we go on vacation, and say you go on vacation to Italy and you're from the US, you may want to eat a lot, drink a lot, have a lot of coffee, have a lot of pastries because the food is just so good. But you might come home feeling bloated. Maybe you have gained weight. Maybe you are sore because you're inflamed. So the antidote is, oh, let's eat more. No, the antidote is let's let go. Let's self-empty. Let's purify. So likewise, that's what our role is here. And the way that we self-purify is that we don't feed the reactive mind. And that's either positive or negative. So we have negative thoughts. We don't jump on those thoughts. If we have positive thoughts, or even like light body experiences, or I dissolved into nothingness, you don't take the bait, because that's still Maya. That's still in the land of illusion. But you sit and you hold your drishti and you relax through the mind wanting to hold on, and you let it go. That's what we're going to be doing in Purify. I'm going to be teaching you the technique of that. And then you can add on some things for your body if you would like to. I highly suggest it. The thing that's gotten me through so much is this phrase, take my medicine. So whatever is being served up, as painful as it is, if there's a part of you that can just receive it and accept it and take your medicine, you're going to find some freedom in it. Because taking our medicine means I'm going to get alongside of reality. I'm going to get on the side of what's happening. And when I do that, then whatever naturally wants to go, whatever naturally wants to release will, and things might find their way back in different orders, in different ways. The way that we make it through these times is to be willing to go into the fire and willing to lose whatever is the not self, so that we may come to our center, that essential nature of who and what we really are. That's a high bar. That's the teaching. And we can do it. We're ready for it. So I hope that supports. I'm going to put the link to Purify below. So if you're feeling like, yes, this is me, this is what I'm called to do, and I'd like a structure and other people and an accountability, I'd like to learn the technique of it, then join us. So I'm sending you so much love right now. May all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts.